How are you, students? I'm glad we are here. We have our lesson today. We've been looking at the electoral process and function of government in the world. And we are done with the USA, whereby we say USA has a written constitution, and they had the system of government where it's made up of several states, and therefore they have a federal government. Today, I want to move on, and I'll be moving on to Britain. And Britain, as we know, is a monarchical government, whereby they have the Queen, they also have the Prime Minister. So we'll be looking at the process of the elections, how they conduct the elections, and also the function of the government. So let's start with the electoral process in Britain. So Britain, elections are normally affected members of the House of Commons, and we have two types of elections which are held in Britain, that is general election and by-elections. General elections are normally held the normal election, but by-elections are normally held during inevitable time, like maybe a member of parliament has died, maybe the prime minister has died, or something like that, or someone has been declared bankrupt and the other. So the elections are normally organized by the Electoral Commission, EC, and the electoral process normally starts by voters registration, just like here in Kenya, where we say the voters have to register in all the constituencies, and Britain have around 650 constituencies. Here in Kenya, we only have 210. So you can imagine 650 constituencies, that's a big number. Now, this followed by the nomination of parliamentary candidates who meet the required qualification, because we find in every country they have the qualifications, and we're going to look at them, whereby you must be of a certain age, you must be a member of that constituencies and the like. So candidates for local authorities are also nominated, who will hold the local authority, or here we call them the county government. And the political parties play a key role in elections, and therefore candidates must be sponsored by a political party. Here in Kenya, you even have independent candidates who are not fine using any political party, but in Britain, you must be nominated, or you must be sponsored by a certain political party. So a month prior to the polling day, the Prime Minister announces the date of elections. This one is a key here. I need you to understand that. And like here, whereby we are able to know the dates of elections, in Britain, it's a hidden card, and it's only the Prime Minister who have it and can release it anytime when he feels like. So within his this short duration of time, the candidates are given time to conduct the election campaign, both at the local and the national level. And because of time, they are not able to move around the country like here, whereby you are able to move in every constituency, in every ward, in every village and the like. There, most of the campaign is done through the media, and that's how people are able to know more about you. So the election expenses are also controlled statutory limit, whereby a candidate is given a certain amount of money that they're supposed to use during the campaign. And if you go beyond that, it means that you have misused the public money, and therefore their expenses are well coordinated and controlled. Therefore, a candidate cannot exceed the permitted amount of money that, if you are a member of parliament, this money you are supposed to use, if you are found to be a leader of the political party and the like. So they have 17 working days after the dissolution of parliament, when the voting takes place through what we call the secret ballot, just like here in Kenya, where we conduct our election through the secret ballot. So the parliament is dissolved 17 days before the elections are normally held. And I've said election there, they're done through the secret ballot. So once the voting is over, the sealed ballot boxes are taken to the central place. We call them the town halls, where the counting normally takes place. So they do them in an open manner, such that you cannot say that your vote was stolen. You find in Kenya, we are used to that the election has been stolen. But in Britain, they do it in an open manner, and accountability is of the highest order. So the counting is supervised by returning officer who also announced the result. And in front here we have your agent, the party agent, who represent their party. So the party that win majority seat in the House of Commons is declared the election winner. And the leader of that party with majority seat become the Prime Minister. But unlike here in Kenya where it's automatic, once you announce the president, you become the president, in Britain, the Prime Minister must be invited by the Queen to, by the monarch or the Queen, is welcomed to form the government. So that means, although it's there ceremoniously, but it means a lot in Britain. So what are the main political parties that are found in Britain? Remember, in USA, we say the key party are two, the Republican and the Democrats. But here in Britain, they have several political parties. They have the Conservative Party, the Labour Party, Liberal Party, Social Democratic Party. Those are the four common parties that are found in Britain. They also have two types of elections, just like here in Kenya, the general elections and the by-elections. So people who are disqualified from voting in Britain, you know, we said we start by voters registration. So when you register, you are registering as a voter. There are qualifications that you must meet in Britain, just like here in Kenya. So there are those people who are not allowed to vote, and we call them the one who are disqualified. One, they are the clergymen. Clergymen, these are the leaders of the Church of England, and they are not allowed to vote in Britain. Then the members of the House of Lords, this one we say they acquire their membership due to their offices. For them, they are also they are not supposed to vote. Foreigners are not also allowed to vote. Then we have those people who hold certain offices, like the civil servant, members of the armed forces. They cannot be voted for, or they cannot fight for any seat. Then the mentally and sound person, those one people they can't vote. Bankrupt person and person convicted of election malpractice within the first 5 years, you cannot be allowed to vote. So all these people, they are disqualified, and therefore they cannot be allowed to go on and vote for any member. So what are the characteristics of the electoral process in Britain? One is that voting is conducted by local authority, who are also the people who maintain the register voters. Then the voter is carried out for members of the House of the Commons, whereby the voting is done for the members of House of Commons, and the voting is normally based on the principle of one person, one vote. That's what we call the whereby you cannot vote twice. And voting is based on universal adult suffrage, whereby all adults, despite where you come from, despite your qualifications, you are allowed to vote. Then the Britain, with the 650 constituencies, they have their representatives. Now, the election campaigns, they are normally done within a very short time. They don't give a long time, like here people start campaigning immediately after the elections are over. But the campaign, they are normally controlled. And the polling date is normally announced by the Prime Minister, and I've said he used that one as his secret weapon, so that they can be able to win the majority, because they normally ambush the other political parties. Then the British government control the electoral expenses, as I've already said that, and the party security, securing the majority of parliamentary seats, normally become the election winner, and they are the one who produce the Prime Minister. So, the conditions which are necessary for voters: you must be 18 years and above, you must be a British citizen, or a citizen of other Commonwealth country, a citizen of the Irish Republic who reside in Britain, and one must appear on the voters' law, that you must register. That's what it means. If you don't register, even if you're a citizen, you cannot vote. So what are the conditions necessary for the parliamentary candidate? One, you must be 20 years of 21 years of age and above. So they don't allow people below 21 years to be voted for as members of the parliament. Then you must have not been disqualified from voting due to bankruptcy. Maybe you are bankrupt, then being given a jail term of more than 1 year, then being a public servant holding a judicial office, being a member of the armed forces or police, or being a clergyman. So those are the things that they can disqualify you. So if you are not being disqualified using that criteria, you can fight for any parliamentary seat. So stages of electoral process in Britain. We have talked about the registration of voters, the nomination of candidates, the election campaign, and also the voting and announcement of the results. Those are stages. And now the reason why I'm not emphasizing so much on them is because we have covered them in another sector. Here we are just working over them to understand how the stages, they go the same stages that we go here in our country. So in Britain, we have said there are several political parties. What is their role? Are they just there to people to fight using them, or what is the role of these political parties? One, they are the one who popularize their party. So they synthesize and mobilize the electorate to vote. So they give the electorate what we call the civic education, so that as they plan to vote, they know who are we voting. And they also recruit new members to join the party, and they normally publish the party manifesto. We say there is no party that can be voted for without a manifesto, guideline telling people what you are going to do for them if they vote for you, or if they don't vote for you, if they vote for you, what you are going to do for you. That one is all included in the party manifesto. So let's sit back and wait as we go to our next clip, where we're going to learn more about the written electoral process.